So I think we're going to get started over here. Apologize, I don't have the projector up over here, but just time being 7:05. Call to order the July 13th Horace Mann Legacy Subcommittee. And real quick, we'll just kind of go around just for everybody to say hi. Jan, if you want to start.
Jan Prentice, Assistant Chair at the Historical Museum.
Kathleen Woods, volunteer.
Jess Ohm, volunteer, mom, community member.
Bill Gagne, volunteer.
Steve Sherlock, Franklin Matters, Franklin Public Radio, and recording tonight.
Thanks, I missed that one.
Bobby Delaco, Franklin Town Council, Chairman of the Franklin Town Council.
Kip Brady, volunteer.
Nancy Brown, volunteer.
Dave Callahan on the school committee, and then online.
Don Boisvert, Director of Operations for the school district.
Reese Hansen, School Committee.
Let's see, I think I see Jason.
Jason Joyce, Community Member.
All right. Tom.
Tom Scale, volunteer.
Thanks, Tom. Aaron.
Hey everybody, Erin Gallagher here.
All right, and am I missing anybody online? I think we got them. All right, perfect. And so first, I want to thank everybody for their involvement with the Strawberry Stroll. We had Kit put together a fantastic trifold. Colin, thanks for making sure that the print job was successful. I think we still have some of these trifolds over at the Historical Museum as well, which is awesome. There was a whole bunch. I think we printed out like over 100. We gave away a whole bunch. It really just kind of explained what what we're doing here to the greater community, and then we're able to leave some at the Historical Museum, which I think is.
I have them right where you sign in.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you. And then, we had the Hunt for Horace scavenger hunt. The kids just running all over the place. Thankfully, I loved that it was rather close proximity because it was like over 100 that day, so they weren't running too far.
Was it?
But
It was so hot.
It definitely is. We can kind of recreate and replicate from one event to the next, and we'll talk about that as we go on. But just to keep kind of educating the kids about it, which was phenomenal. So thank you guys all, and for everyone that was at the booth. It was a great event and a really wonderful public kind of kickoff. So today it's going to be kind of three things. The bigger one is late May, the campus design team did a walk around on the grounds of Horace Mann Middle School, Horace Mann campus. So the ECDC, the middle school, and the high school. And shout out to Colin for being our tour guide. He got the van, and we jumped on the school van, and we drove around. He dumped us off. We got to walk around, look at some stuff, and come back and talk. And so we took some of the bigger ideas and put them all together. And so what we'll do in a moment is kind of like review some of the ideas that we have. I'll just kind of go over them and then have an opportunity to kind of react to them, add in anything that was missed, or just kind of an open floor discussion on some of the different items. And then lastly, to recommend. Because what I think would be really great is as we move forward, we can kind of have some recommendations to say, this is what we're going to prioritize right now, just it's limited bandwidth, limited resources. Here's some like the number one idea that we definitely want to kind of push forward as we move public. We have a quick little funding update that we'll get to. And then lastly, we'll talk about the farmers market as we have a dedicated spot on August 21st. And so we'll talk a little bit about that. But so first, in terms of the campus design, Colin, would you be able to present out that presentation? Okay. And I'll, for everybody in the room, I'll share this. We'll share this with the whole committee afterwards. But again, just the overall kind of concept of what we did, and of just kind of really walking the grounds, taking some pictures, and just letting some ideas start to kind of percolate to say, how is this going to be actualized, and what are some of the ideas that we have? And so we'll kind of touch on those, and then again, kind of have an open floor discussion on that. And so one of the first ones that came up was a Grow with Horace. And so the idea being that at different stages of the kid's life, from early to pre-K, elementary school, middle, and high, in the schools, either in the classroom or in the hallways. Try to make it relate so that way the kids can see, all right, well, this is what I'm doing right now. What was Horace doing at this time? Kind of spoiler, it was usually just working in the fields.
Yeah.
But, and whether or not this is some educational material that we can kind of work on and then provide to the teachers to say, hey, if you want to do something, May 4th is Horace Mann's Day. If you want to talk a little bit about that in the classroom, here's ways that you can kind of tell some stories to the kids at all the different levels in their career as students.
When I was a kid, they did a ceremony at the monument.
And I had heard there was a song to it as well. Someone had sung to me.
I don't know.
Okay, I gotta find. There was,
I don't remember that.
You don't remember?
No.
This one woman.
I remember the
swore
ceremony, but I don't remember
the song. Yeah. But so really to kind of like have this opportunity to put it into the classroom, and it could also be perhaps like art installations as the time goes on too. A painting kind of depicting Horace Mann, so that as the kids are kind of going into school, they're in the elementary school and they're like, oh, there's that picture. This is what Horace Mann was doing as I'm going to gym class, as I'm learning about how to read. And then when they get to the middle school, they kind of see that same similar. I think it would be great to keep the same artist, the same theme, and they can kind of go, oh, now this is what he's doing as he's kind of growing up a little bit, and as they're growing up, they're seeing Horace Mann kind of grow up as well. Could jump to the next one. Something else that was brought up is the Horace Mann Walking Museum. And so as we were walking around ourselves, we're seeing, as others I'm sure have noticed, there's plenty of people walking around the grounds of especially the high school and the middle school. And much like when you're kind of going on a hike and you kind of see that trail, and the trail says, all right, if you walk this loop, it's 1.5 miles. If you do this one, it's 2 miles. Maybe that's something we can kind of jump onto as well. And so the idea starts with, all right, well, here's this walking path all around the grounds of the Horace Mann campus. And if you walk this, this is the expected duration. Here's how much you're going to be walking. But then to kind of take it a step further, in each different spots along the way, little signage to teach more people about Horace Mann. Now, this can kind of come in some static installations that we have, and here's just some brief details about the man. But we could also kind of take it a step further, and maybe if we had this idea of reaching out to different teachers, to college professors, other community leaders, and if we know that the walk around the area is going to be, say, 20 minutes, ask the professor at Framingham State University and say, hey, can you give us a 20-minute lecture about Horace Mann and creating the first normal teaching school and how they kind of came to be Framingham State. So folks can kind of go, and as they're going on the walk, they scan the QR code, they can click through a number of different lectures that are out there, and then kind of go and listen to a professor talk about Horace Mann, talk about the value of education as they're doing that walk.
Have you contacted Rob Lawson at Dean College? He's awesome. He's a history professor.
He's giving a talk tomorrow at the senior center.
Yep, I'm going to be there tomorrow. He's my buddy. He does a lot at the museum.
If you guys wouldn't mind, maybe when you see him tomorrow, even just to kind of ask him, we have this Horace Mann Legacy Committee that's all about educating the community, and if he might be interested in kind of, collaborating on some stuff.
Yeah, because I get him to speak at a lot of the things at the senior center too.
That's fantastic. Okay.
That's great.
Thanks. And then the next kind of big tent idea was about signage and installation. And so one of the first ones is as you're kind of coming up to the high school along Panther Way, over to the left, there's the high school sign. And, is there something where we kind of include a topper or another sign right around that same area? Not to take away from what's existing, but just to kind of highlight to say, welcoming people to the Horace Mann campus. Hey, Reese. But then we also, and I think a past meeting kind of talked about the idea of almost like college town signs. And so where along the high traffic areas up on lampposts, we may see on one side will identify as the Horace Mann campus. But then on the other side to say, well, you're at the high school, you're at the middle school, you're at the early childhood. And to kind of put those up along some of the lampposts, that was one thing at one point we tried counting how many lampposts actually are in that campus, and it's a lot. But Colin kind of recommended we just kind of go on the drop off, really the big places where people would kind of go, not necessarily in the parking lots, but to kind of have some of these signs. And we have a couple of mock-ups in just a moment. The other one too is Hometown Heroes Walkway. And so it started, Bill was talking about the idea of having like a walkway from the middle school to the high school. But from there, we really kind of talk, whether that's talking about like that graduation from one school to the next. And from there, we talked about like the different valedictorians that have graduated, and even ways in which we might be able to collaborate with Franklin TV. They record the high school graduations. Can we maybe work with them to just include snippets of the valedictorian speech? So again, maybe if this is along that walking trail, folks can also kind of go and take a look at what the valedictorian speeches were over the past years and go and listen to that. But we can also kind of use like this Hometown Heroes Walkway, not just to elevate Horace Mann, but talk about Parmenter, talk about Remington, talk about Christy Kirsch from the rugby team. And so just a number of local folks, and also I think still use it as an opportunity to better educate them. I know Mr. Barrett, one of the music teachers, did a song for Leon Remington. And so what are the ways in which we can kind of really help try to make history alive? And this was one other idea.
How far back are you going to go with the valedictorian?
How far back can we go?
We have a bunch of yearbooks at the museum.
I think when it comes to the actual names, we can go back away, especially when we talk about if this is like hometown heroes. How many of those valedictorians, where do they go and what have they done? So I think however far back we can kind of go with the names and the years, I think would be really fun and cool.
Yeah.
And then how far back we go.
Hometown heroes are veterans too on the Veterans Walkway. There's 45 veterans. There were granite pillars for each veteran that was killed
Killed in the war.
from World War I
You should be in there.
on to present day. And one of them especially is Eddie Grant.
And we jumped past it, but yes, we did have we listed him down here as well. And then what we kind of have here was just a couple of mock-ups of what some of those installations might look like. So, for instance, over at the high school, they already have the hardware for banners.
They were there, and then they either got old or whatever, and they stopped going there. But they were along the whole front.
There's a ton of the hardware for the banners to kind of go, and that's already there. So something like this is a little bit easier of a lift because there's no installation. It's just getting the banners. And is that something that we can kind of help to raise some revenue to say, all right, we're going to have some banners for Horace Mann campus, but also for the old banners that we used to have for the Franklin High School. And I think as we look into that, kind of we should really kind of figure out, all right, well, what exactly is the lifespan of those banners? How much money would have to kind of be raised annually, just to kind of make it so that a way we don't have a situation like we're in now, where it's right there, but we just can't afford to put those banners up. One idea that popped up from this was other ways in which we can kind of have local sponsorship to kind of go and say, for instance, going with Eddie Grant, the Franklin Fathers, kind of go and say, all right, we're going to donate some money to have these banners. Maybe that one banner lists the donor for that year or for those however long the life cycle might be, 5 years, so that donor is always there and kind of being honored. And then once we're ready to kind of go and hang them up, they get their banner, and then we kind of look to another local organization to kind of keep that going.
That's cool.
Colin, perfect. And then these are what like those college banners might look like.
Great.
Again, and just the illustration itself is just a complete mock-up, but there's just a concept of as you're driving around, you can kind of see, all right, this entire place is the Horace Mann campus, but here we are at the different boundary lines in the different areas, especially the Early Childhood Development Center was something that we had, as we were walking around, Colin, I think, had mentioned that there's not a lot of traffic over there. When people walk, they don't necessarily walk there. I know in the wintertime, like I'll bring my kids there to go sledding, but otherwise that's kind of it. And so, are there ways in which we can also kind of like bring more folks around the Early Childhood Development Center, and just so that they're more aware of what that is and what it is for our community, and the extra space that we have back there too. And then one more, this one, sorry, very small for the folks here, but just the idea of a topper as along Panther Way to kind of say, again, welcome to the Horace Mann campus. All right, hit enter, I think then, perfect, okay. And so now I want to kind of kick it out to everybody to kind of just get your thoughts and opinions. I know, I think Jason had a time limit, so I don't know if you had anything, I'll go to you first. Oh, I tried talking faster, sorry. All right, then we'll, Jason, if you are still on and you want to jump in, feel free to. Otherwise, we'll kind of go around the room and then we'll jump to online. And so just kind of around the room, any kind of thoughts about any of the couple of different topics that we discussed?
I think these ideas came together great. From brainstorming when we were on the tour to this. This looks fantastic.
I think we need to stress that Horace Mann got his education from the books that Ben Franklin donated to the town.
So this is what I kind of brought up when we were on the tour, how like growing up in Franklin, you knew that Ben Franklin gave us those books in the library, but not everybody knows that Horace Mann.
They don't know that.
So like let's do that same thing to the kids.
Yeah, they don't know that Franklin was going to be called Exeter.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
That was something, give him another opportunity, but where Jason, he had wrote an article about the town common. And I love that because it talked about just that very concept of, on this, what started as the name, and we got the books, and then from the books became the man. So that's a great idea to make sure we really stress that. Anything else before we hop on?
I like the ideas. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay. I was just thinking about process over the last week or so, and I like all these ideas. I think they're great. But I was thinking of if it's also tied into the amount of money we're going to raise.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say.
So my thought was it's along the lines of you kind of have three things. It's good, better, best. So if we raise X amount of dollars, that can do good, and we're happy with what good is. And we determine how much money we have to have for good, and then better. And then if we win the lottery here as a committee, that's bells, whistles, and everything else. And statues and whatever else we do. But it's that three-step process so that we know where we are in the process and how much money we need for each step. Does that make sense?
Like prioritize.
Yeah.
You could do something like what they did for the middle school auditorium. Your fund, your dollars would go towards this. We would like to buy these banners, this, that, and other thing, because they talk about the different things in middle school.
Itemize it.
Auditorium will get if you donate to the, so people can see what their
money is going to go to.
Right.
Yeah, is it Colin?
Yeah, Dave, a perfect way to answer this too, and similar to the auditorium project, once we have really a design plan or idea that we want to pursue, then we can kind of work with our, possible, suppliers and things like that to get pricing and work off of it. I think if we can finalize some ideas, I can work to get, scope of works together and pricing on these ideas, just as long as we know what we are pursuing.
And then
I like all these vinyl banners. I would say you're going to expect them to last maybe like 3 years or so in the weather. I would personally argue against putting sponsors on them. I just think that that's going to require a lot of tracking. It's going to get messy. It's going to take away from the overall consistency of the look because you'll have to plan around their imagery. But I think that you can probably get away with spending a couple $1,000s on them and having them last 3 4 years, you'll also get a cheaper price if you're ordering multiple of the same banner versus the one-offs.
Oh,
with
that's a
different
solid.
Yeah,
pictures on
unique
them.
ones, right.
Volume.
Yep.
I mean, we may be able to your point, Aaron, not putting them on the flags, we may be able to have it like the beginning or the end, a list of all the sponsors. That's easy enough to switch out as they
or
come.
even like when the campus is like, formally done and all that sort of thing, have like sandwich boards out that are like, thanks to these orgs and individuals for their support in getting this done. Put them on there.
How about one of those signs? with
There's
a
other ways
QR
to
code on it?
recognize them outside of putting them on the actual, brand of the campus.
Either that or
Which I might not vibe with.
get the sponsors and put them around the football field like they do all the other times.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? You could do that, and then it would be away from the.
So just not to commingle
Yeah.
with the
That
brand, with the
would
style.
Yeah.
Look nice too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great. Thank you.
I see a connection between the curriculum signage and the history from elementary to middle to high school, and can see these flyers or banners maybe having not just Horace Mann's name, but some kind of a quote or a comment. Not, you talk about the audio you can listen to during the walking museum, but maybe some of these could have, some pretty interesting facts about him on them, like Horace Mann was here, or I don't know, it needs a really good writer, but
He has some really great quotes too. That's a
yeah,
good point,
to make him more alive, more than just the father of public education, like we've been doing. So there's a lot of, the Hometown Heroes I think is great, and I was wondering about the bricks. Has there been any thought of selling bricks and people donating through that at all? Is it too early to think about that?
It's definitely not too early, and it's been kicked around because that's always, I know, like the library, Veterans Parkway kind of has that
The
as
senior
well.
center's gonna do bricks too.
Oh, okay. That's always said. It's usually
great.
$50. Get you the brick and
Well, they're
engraved, and it's 100 now. Oh boy.
The price went up.
Yeah. It was a while since I
But
bought the
we're working
library,
on
but
that. Yeah.
But I think that's always something that's, especially when we're kind of talking about like the walkway from the middle school to the high school.
Yeah.
That parents would go wild to kind of go and donate a brick as their kids are moving up, just to kind of help raise some revenue and then be happy about their kids. So that's definitely something that we'll be
The
looking to
library's
pursue.
loaded with bricks. They did good
Yeah.
with them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It looks so nice in your mock-up, almost like a rotary, and it would be beautiful, I think, if we could pave it with something cool and honor all those veterans as well as hometown heroes.
And they're
We
gonna
have a lot
have
of
another
people.
installation for November for Veterans Day.
Mhm.
I just bought one for a friend of mine that just started putting
4 of
Agent
them
Orange.
on there.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then online, any other kind of thoughts right now?
Just thank you for putting this all together. It really came out great from what we talked about on the tour. And as far as the banners go, yes, I think there's a lot of polls, but we just do outside areas. It would be really, really beneficial for the campus design.
A couple of other quick points, if I may. You mentioned the walkway between ECDC and Senior Center, but the Senior Center also gets to Horace Mann, the middle school. And I know there's some discussion around trying to build that generational gap.
Yeah.
That'd be something that would be something to leverage.
You'd have to come down that hill though, right?
Yeah.
Well, I know.
Or the kids could go up.
Yeah.
Well, the kids would definitely go up.
Absolutely.
I'll get you that.
Mr. Vaca had done personal experiment with my daughter's class. Yeah, and they would every Thursday, I think it was, they would go up to the senior center, hit the 8th grade civics class, and then just talk and chat and play pool.
That's so cool.
But so to
That's
keep that bridge going would be great.
Yes.
Good
The
question.
other point, the town has some experience so we can leverage potentially what they've seen in terms of the wear.
And I'd also love, Tom, you had talked about that, that town common tree sign that we kind of have, if folks have kind of explored that.
Yes.
It was a website that GIS, the town's GIS put together, and now you can kind of go right to the town common, show a QR code, click on the QR code, and it shows you all the trees that are on the common, which is
Nice.
amazing.
Nice.
But I'd love to,
I didn't know that either.
they got
That's
it at
fantastic.
both entrances. And so I'd love to kind of connect with those folks too, just to see, what
Like to do it.
how did that process go? How often,
The
what's
tree of knowledge.
We use them for the story map too for reorganization.
Oh,
so,
that was fantastic.
Yeah. Yep. So they're very good to work with, and they can do some pretty impressive things.
Awesome.
That's great.
I think the struggle this committee, and respectfully from observation, because I'm not actually part of it, but you're getting some great ideas, and you've still got to build the story in order to then start pulling everything together. But the idea even of kind of the tiered approach, that'll be great from my perspective, seeing what's going on. If you give the structure that this is much buys this much buys this, you already are presetting that expectation in the minds of the people, saying, instead of just coming out and saying, give us $1,000, we're going to do this. Well, what is it going to be for? You know where the conversation is going to go. But if you come out and you really take some of that away by giving the structure and the approach, we want to do this, but we can only do this unless we can go there, but with more help. That'll help that selling process when you get ready to do that.
So when we raise $20,000, we get our tier 1. When we raised 50, we get tier 1 and tier 2.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
It helps us manage our expectations too.
Yeah, because
Yeah, and I want to say this, you all put a lot of time and effort in this, going forward, and we don't want to be disappointed if we're all thinking it's just going to be the best right out of the box. But think of it as a building process that, if it's an ongoing process, we can, start with good, be happy with that, and get more, and we want to continue, we work towards better and best.
Especially if it's going to take a curriculum and it's going to go into the schools, that's going to take a building process for sure,
On the banners, would it just be historical things on the banners, or would you get businesses to advertise on the banners? If you're going to put them around.
That's what Aaron was talking about.
Yeah.
I think you should have like either Franklin High with something in the, if you're gonna do that, with something that Horace Mann did or something like that, I think we should keep the business, I agree with Aaron, I think we should keep the businesses out of there because it's gonna take away from it,
And like you said, the cost is going to be more if they're all unique.
Yeah, each year is a little different.
But the football field you're suggesting could be a great
Yeah, they
thing to
do that a
into.
lot around there, they
Yeah.
have like
Great.
sponsors and you just put them around the.
Separation of.
Yeah, and it's separated,
Right.
so,
The outfield fences.
yeah.
Okay. So then, kind of from what I'm hearing right now of kind of what we discussed here, it sounds like we have agreement just as long as, in terms of that sponsorship, would just be removed and not part of any kind of branding or styling, ways in which we can kind of help generate revenue and figure out, still say thank you very much without putting them front and center. But otherwise, are these ideas stuff that the committee does want to kind of continue to pursue and start to kind of work to build out?
Yeah, I think they're great.
What about fundraising now? So, when we
Next
talk
topic.
about that?
So, I was just wondering, like, as part of building the story, which will lead into fundraising, where are we at with the website, social media? Do we have a website? Do we have any updates on that? Because I think that's going to help us build that story and get the word out there publicly.
Let's see. Erin, at the last meeting, Ruth Ann mentioned about the possibility of designing a website. Has that?
Yeah, so I can sure do that. I have not done it yet because my world has been a little banana pants. But I can certainly move that up my priority list. It won't take that long to do. I think we just want to decide on where we want to head with starter content as far as like what are our top priorities in getting it launched.
We might want to have like a donor page for donations. Here's what we're looking for donors. Here's what you would get for different levels.
For sure.
Levels
And
of advertising or levels of
to have a
technology.
donation page and everything set up, we need a means of accepting donations.
Well, we have that. Yeah, we have the account.
Okay, great.
We also talked about having an Instagram, which I think would be, I think the Instagram would get the word out, like, we're going to be at the farmer's market, we're going to do this, versus like, I think a website people are just gonna go to, but when everybody's doom scrolling, they're gonna come across our Instagram post.
Yeah.
Oh, they're
It's a
doing this,
combo,
they're doing that.
For
Yeah,
sure,
for sure, it's a
yeah.
combo, like always link the website on the Instagram
Yeah.
page. But whatever we're doing, I think that will pop up on people's algorithm.
Do we think we want to, I go back to thinking about prioritizing, what's the most important idea we've kind of landed on here? What if we had, $1,000? What would be the first thing that we would want to do? And I think we need to price out all of these, ideas we have, and what does it cost us? And then we need to put a presentation together that we could take either on our website or we're going to knock on doors, I would think, to try to sell this to, businesses, schools, when I'm schools, I'm talking colleges, something to show that's, like Roy, State Rep Roy.
Jeff can get us money.
But let's give him a professional presentation that he can sell internally to get wherever that money is. And then we can prioritize and say, okay, I like banners because it's like right away. Puts it on there, and that's what does it cost to do banners? What does it cost us to do signage? Prioritize what does it cost us to put a professional presentation together and go out and knock on some doors of, like I always say, fish where the fish are. And people who got money and ask for the money.
But the website too, when we did the Horace Mann statue, like I was looking for a coffee cup, but my wife has it at work, so I don't have it. But we were selling coffee cups and we were selling a lot of stuff. And, we can do that on the website too. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Like the 250.
Yeah, just like the 250.
Good timing.
And you guys might be kind of lucky because I think I'm buying into a t-shirt place, so if you want to, I think we can get a good deal going. You know what I mean? So it's going to be my retirement job. So me and my buddy, he's already doing it, but I'm coming in with him.
So it sounds like we need visuals, right?
Yep.
We need visuals of what the swag can be. We need the visuals of what the return of the campus brand is going to be, and then we need ideas of what other educational programming is going to be happening that this money then fuels. How is it educating and impacting people of all ages in the town? Something as simple as like the idea of having a Horace Mann story walk that goes out on the common every 6 months or whatever. How much does that cost to do? It's not very much money, but different price points of how people can support the overall vision for this educational and branding experience.
We had a speaker at the museum a couple months ago, and he spoke on Horace Mann. He did his thesis on Horace Mann.
It's sort of
very interesting.
Sort of like a docent, at a museum who can guide everybody on a regular basis.
How much money do we have now?
How much money do we have?
Right now, $100.
Yeah.
Officially. And so.
But we haven't really advertised.
No, we haven't. Yeah. And so.
How about unofficially? How much do we have?
I don't know how much you got in your account. So, there's a couple of different threads going on around here. And so, one, Colin had also sent a chat, but he said in terms of like the banners, getting pricing for that, he'd be able to kind of go and provide for like the next meeting. So at least so that way we already kind of start that process. And I think as long, everyone's kind of in agreement with some of the ideas that we currently have. So I think that's going to be kind of like that next mission, is to say, all right, here's some of those different 3-level proposals, and start to really kind of build a lot of that out. And in terms of with the Instagram, we had created an Instagram account for Horace Mann. I don't really know much. There hasn't been anything posted yet. It's not gone public, but we at least kind of have Horace Mann has his own Instagram page that we will be able to kind of work on and start to kind of share on out.
That's so fun.
So you could take these ideas and farm them out to the subcommittees too, to develop content. So for example, the walkway,
Yes.
like the education, where the outreach people could do the signage and work on that individually, so it's not like, tied up in a couple people, it's kind of distributed across the subcommittees.
100%. And so like what we can kind of do, I'll tidy this up and I'll remove the sponsorship kind of concept, but then and then start to kind of delegate out to say, to that end, all right, here's, some of the next couple of steps. And so each of those smaller teams can really kind of start to work on the different action items that they have. So when we kind of circle back together, now all of a sudden we have the education storytelling folks have kind of put together some different ideas that if we do this walk around, what are some different factoids that can kind of come about.
Great.
The campus design team will work closely with Colin, just in terms of at least like the banners. Even if we have one thing that we can say right out of the gate, this is what we know. Because one thing that will be coming up, we'll kind of jump into like funding right now, is in September through October, the Cultural Council, or Cultural Committee, I always mistake those, I apologize, but they do their funding, their grant applications. And it's a short window, but it kind of comes up in the fall. But I think if we're circling the wagons around like the banners, if that's like Colin, like a quick and easy one to kind of price out, then we can start there and say, here's the 3 different tiers, put together that full-on proposal, so that way when the grant application comes around in September, we say, this is what we're looking for. Here's some of the money that we're looking to kind of raise. But continue on with the rest of the work in terms of the walking tour, the storybooks, a few of those other ideas. But at least the immediate priority could at least be on those banners. So that way, I think the Cultural Council, that's going to be the first opportunity that we have for funding, for big funding, and a great get. Tom and Bobby had mentioned like the State House on Beacon Hill. And so I think what we'd also look to do, just as we look ahead, is around late November, early December, to kind of have a couple of these different visuals to be presented out at the school committee, just so that way the school committee itself, Lucas and Colin will be able to say, hey, here's some of the work that we've been doing, here's some of the ideas going around, and then once the school committee can kind of say, yes, we put eyes on it and we like it, he can then kind of flip it over to Jeff and Becca to say, hey, as you're gearing up for next budget season, if there's looking for a couple of earmarks, here's what, Bill, your comment, here's what $10,000 might get you, here's what $5,000 might get you. But I think
Jeff gets us $50,000 for the Safe Coalition every year.
Like clockwork, right?
And it doesn't, and she doesn't take it out of the budget. I've been waiting every year to see that get taken out, and it doesn't. So, that's what we need to do, is get like something like that, that will keep coming every year. It does help,
That replaces banners.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's for upkeep. Yeah.
Would we need to consult with Jennifer or Becca Roush as to here's how you approach, here's the way to go about it, rather than reinventing the wheel, here's what works?
Why don't we just bring Jeff into the next meeting? I'll call him and ask him.
Perfect. Yeah, we got August 11. Is that it? August 10.
August 10th?
August 10. Yeah, if you want to.
I'll call him tomorrow.
That's awesome.
Because if he puts it in his calendar, he'll get there, but you gotta get him. You gotta get him right away.
Maybe we'll have that meeting at the Rome.
Yeah.
It's good for pizza.
And then, but also on the funding note, so we did have some donations come in through the Unipay website. And then it goes right into the revolving account. And then what happens is at the last school committee meeting, the school committee will officially vote to bring those funds in to one of the revolving accounts on the school's budget. And so we do have that mechanism. It is live, so as we start to kind of work on that website, we'll be able to kind of direct folks right there to kind of come on in, and we'll hopefully start to see that, just as we start to broadcast ourselves out, more and more happening more often. But I think what we would also like to do, we kind of had the three teams, like the education storytelling, campus design, and public outreach. Now that we're talking about money and we're going to start building out those proposals, I would like to kind of spin off like a fourth one of just fundraising and finance. And so if folks are interested, I know a couple mentioned it way back when with that first survey, but if you are interested in kind of serving on fundraising finance, perfect. And just a couple of hands raised, and also
fundraising too.
And let's see. Oh, that too, yeah. Because I think we're going to very quickly get to that point where we're going to say, all right, we actually have money in our coffers. And I think initially probably start to use some of that money on more visuals. I know like Franklin 250, I saw them at July 4th, and they got this gorgeous banner, this like 5-6 foot banner that just kind of has Franklin 250 and great design.
They have a lot of stuff they're selling.
They do. They're crushing it. Yeah.
They're crushing it. Hats, shirts, golf shirts, everything.
Cups, straw hats.
But that's Debbie.
Oh, we need those.
Yeah, that was Debbie, because Debbie was on the
Selling some of
Horace
the
Mann
250
statue
items
committee.
at
She
the
did that same
museums
thing
as
with
well
us.
as a separate entity.
And but yeah, I think
Offer to be unique, because we don't want to be like another shirt.
I've been trying to think of that,
Some
like,
unique things that are tied to Horace that we can do.
education, yeah, like I
How
just.
about Horace Mann's picture on the front, and underneath it, not just another pretty face? I'd buy that.
Oh, the swag
I
in
mean,
this
like,
area.
it could be something that continues to raise money for us.
Sure.
250 committee's doing an amazing job. That will end, right? Like, we're gonna keep going, so it could just be like
Yeah, the
long-term
250.
ideas.
We're not going to be, I know I'm not going to be around for the 300, so.
Same, yeah.
But so what I'll do though, I'll kind of reach out to those folks, and we'll also start to work on that. So maybe also kind of work closely with Colin as we start to get some like price points for a lot of those different ones, to start putting together what a lot of these projects are going to cost, and then more concrete ways on how to get it funded.
We should reach out to and I said this before, like Antioch College, because that's where he was president, the first president of that school.
Yep.
There might be an opportunity there if we put something decent together, find the right person
We
internally.
brought his family up from Connecticut for I think it was his great.
Horace
I don't-
Mann's family?
Yeah, great niece or nephew or something we brought up. I forget. I'd have to ask Debbie. But they did come up for when we dedicated the statue. Yeah.
And
They might have.
pictures of that.
I'll ask Debbie. But maybe they have.
Dean College?
Yeah.
I don't know. It is, and then because of the state universities, the normal schools, is there an they must have a state organization. I don't know if they give out funds. Peter, you talk about Framingham State, Bridgewater. I don't know what the other ones are.
Pittsburgh,
Salem,
Pittsburgh,
Pittsburgh.
UMass.
They're all
UMass Boston.
got that legacy because he started the schools. Maybe that's, you get a little bit of cash out of them. That's better.
Well, that's something that we should.
My cousin, he's a professor at Westfield State. I can reach out to him and ask him.
Yeah, but you also have, that's something maybe for Jeff, because the rep they have a rep, especially Jeff that was his first committee.
Right.
Was, the state colleges.
Oh,
So we might
Renew
have-
that.
We might have to, well, he's higher up now, so he can talk to them.
Right. He knows who.
I would, I'll help
Well,
with
he's here in
that.
a month. We can pick his brain about that too.
Yep.
So we might want to send him a list of questions.
that's what,
These are particular topics and how would we go about doing this, so you can kind of think about it.
And then.
Have to prioritize all of
Question,
these.
is there something
What is the?
in this arena that we haven't asked yet, did you make?
Yeah.
Yeah.
so
Good.
to that,
He'll do his
great
homework,
point.
he always does.
For folks, if they want to shoot me an email with any questions that they may want to ask Jeff, and then so we'll kind of go and just package that on up, and then we'll flip that out to him before. And if he's able to make the August 10th, that's great. If he can't, we'll also let the committee know too. But
I'll text you tomorrow.
Perfect. Okay.
You know.
and but ultimately, so that way we'll make sure that he has that full list, and we'll kind of clean it up and put it together, and then flip that out to him. That's fantastic. Anything else online? And then so the one other item that I just wanted to kind of hit on was the farmers market. So we have, it's on August 21st. Every Friday when the farmers market does their thing, they reserve a community booth for folks out in the community, and so early on we were able to reserve that date. So that's just us. We're not sharing it with the school committee or with anybody else. It's just going to be our table where we'll be able to kind of go chat with folks about what we're doing, kind of get some input that they might have. I think we got this meeting and the August meeting, so I think it would be fantastic if we're able to have, even if it's just the banners, to say, here's conceptually what we're looking at, here's how much we're going to have to raise in order to kind of get that, but just to, really kind of get out there with folks, and then, try to have some.
What about your brochures that you made out?
Absolutely, yeah, and we should still have those as some handouts. But so what I'll do is, as we get a little bit closer to that, probably send out like a sign-up genius. And so if folks are able to, the market's from 2 to 6 on that date. So just so that way we can kind of, I took the day off, so I'll be there the whole time, but just so we can kind of have, a couple of folks there throughout. And then we'll also just make sure that we got a tent, some chairs, some waters for everybody. But just to kind of go and mark that on the calendar.
That's great.
But so that's what I had right now for this meeting. Any thoughts, other ideas, anything else to kind of discuss?
You may have this, and I just totally forgot, because I forget a lot of stuff these days. But do we have an overlying kind of a mission statement of what our committee is?
Yes.
I think we do.
Yeah, and I can flip that back out, or.
That should be a piece of everything we do that clearly explains what purpose, what we're trying to do, and aid for fundraising, but to the community, and keep us, between the white lines. So
Yeah, the Grow with Horace.
That's what we had, and this is from, I think, last August, but I can read it aloud right now, but born in Franklin and celebrated as a father of public education, Horace Mann devoted his life to championing educational reform and advocating for free, equitable public education accessible to every child. The Horace Mann Legacy Subcommittee is dedicated to educating the community about Mann's enduring contributions, strengthening civic understanding through historical storytelling, and advancing informational advocacy grounded in his vision for public education.
Did you want to put factoids on the banners?
Yeah, that's what I.
Because I can come up with some.
And we could also, I'll share with you, I think Alan might have it, but we
have a bunch of framed things on Horace Mann.
Yeah, and I'll share with you what we had. We scrounged up a couple of them that we put together, and so we can collaborate. That'd be fantastic.
Because we have his whole history.
Do you have multiple frames? Like, can we have more than one?
Well, we have multiple
there's
frames.
our walking museum and Grow with Horace.
And Rob Lawson does a cemetery walk at Union Street Cemetery, and he always points out the Mann family gravesite.
Wow.
Because one of the his siblings drowned at August Pond.
Steve.
Yep. And the pastor gave a hell and brimstone speech at the sermon of the funeral, and the Manns never went back to church.
I didn't know that, but I knew he died.
Yeah.
I remember we had that. I gotta try to find that book that we have with all
Well, he
Maybe
said
Debbie has it.
if the sibling did not skip services, this wouldn't have happened.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
You would have died, yeah, you would have
Really
drowned,
put the family on a guilt trip.
Yeah. Well, his
Back
mother was
then, they
devastated.
could do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Back then, they could do that.
Nobody was
He
learning.
also,
Yeah.
but he also kept the books that Ben Franklin donated in his barn
Barn, yeah.
and wouldn't let anybody use them except his parishioners. And finally they said, no, that's not gonna fly.
Wow.
It's for everyone.
What's his farm?
Yeah, Pastor Emmons was an interesting, really. Things have changed.
Things have changed, yeah.
So, yeah, right now we got the next meeting on August 10th. I'll put like out a little recap of today's meeting along with action items for each of the smaller committees in advance of the next one. All right, plug in before
Just in time.
not yet.
Just a general comment, we're aiming to do a presentation at the beginning of May, right?
Yeah, there'll be like a full-blown presentation on the May 4th school committee meeting.
So just kind of an overarching 1,000-foot view, it's the middle of July.
Mhm.
So we're gonna get there faster than I think. I mean, it's coming, right? So
Yes.
We're under
Yeah.
the year and it's gonna creep up on us, and then school year will start and all the other groups, school groups will be asking for money and things like that. So I don't know what, it's kind of short notice what we can do to get moving over the summer while we're kind of in a fundraising dead zone. You know, come the fall, everybody's gonna be asking for money for everything, right? So I just kind of an overarching comment is that, you know, we're under a year and we're still kind of in the early stages, so just in terms of thinking. Gotta get moving.
Yes.
Yeah.
And my hope is that, you know, we kind of have these like the big three items that we're looking at. Now that we have this, it's going to be a lot easier for a lot other, you know, like the rest of the smaller groups to really kind of go and start putting these different, like, you know, like the 3-level presentations together. So then when we're coming back to the meetings, to these big ones every month, it's less working meetings and more, here's the pitch. Let's make some tweaks, let's make some adjustments as we kind of, and then just jump from one group to the next or one project to the other. Because, yeah, that next one is going to be coming up in less than a year, but really, though, it's going to be that late November, early December one, because that's when something will kind of be presented out at the school committee that we would love to kind of get eyes on in a review, so that way Lucas can tell Jeff and Becca, hey, this is what we got if you're looking for money, because when Tom had mentioned at our last meeting, that's around the time that a lot of those conversations are starting to have. We'll have more with Jeff, but I think we will start to be moving, but we do have to get, there's a lot of work ahead of us. Agreed.
I'm hopeful, and I don't know, maybe I'm being very naive, but I'm sort of hopeful that we're gonna get some sizable donations from organizations and companies that are really gonna make these 3 tiers possible. Yeah.
I
We're gonna have to go out and knock on doors, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who's our Gorilla connection? They always seem to step up. Do we have a Gorilla connection?
I can get the gorilla if we have to.
It just seemed like.
About EMC,
Yeah, well,
I don't know.
they're a big monster.
Dell now, eh?
Look it out.
Dell's getting
Yeah,
drunk way out, so let's throw
I
something.
might have a contact.
I think, like, for me, I have no sense of how much money we're looking for. Like, are we looking for 10,000? Are we looking for 50, 100, 5?
Yes.
Like, do you know what I mean?
I agree with you. I agree with you.
It
Tries
feels,
to
yes.
Yes,
price
it's the
out
same
what they
way.
are,
Right.
and say,
It's really gonna be
Here's
the
what
first
they
step.
are.
Yeah.
And then you could have one of those thermometer things. You
Yeah.
know?
Yep.
I think we
I
should.
love it.
I think
Yep.
we shoot for whatever we can get, because we're gonna, if it's gonna keep going. I know we should prioritize
no, I agree that, I
what,
agree with that, and I
Yeah.
agree with what you're saying too. We don't have to share with the people we're asking money for what our, you know, good, better, best targets are, but we could sell our overriding idea of what we're trying to do. These are the things we're gonna do. They don't need to know, and if you donate, you know, $10,000 to us, you know, we'll buy your product forever, you know, so.
I think the
I think that's
YMCA
what
might be a
sure.
good resource too.
yeah, the Y is always good.
I feel like once we have like concrete numbers, then it's gonna give us a sense of how.
Adirondack
this
Club
is,
might be
you know.
good too. They'll be
we'll
good.
universities might, any, like Mass Teachers Association or organizations that support
State
public
Historical
education,
Committee, the state-
Teachers Union, whatever.
I was gonna say the teachers union.
Future Teachers of America Association, anything related to
I can get a
public
donation
education.
from the Teamsters. I don't know how much, but I mean, I can talk to Opie and find out.
So I think what we'll look to do right now is at the next meeting, in addition to kind of having, if Jeff's able to make it, look at some of those, start to really draft out what each of those different kind of 3 concepts would look like at those 3 different funding levels. Colin, maybe you and I can kind of touch base, especially on the banners. If that's like low-hanging fruit, that's the easy one, to kind of go and grab that and just use that as that model and say, like what we do with what's happening at the middle school, to kind of show, here's how much this whole thing would cost. If we kind of expand it, this is what we're looking at. And then start to kind of replicate that along with the other ones, so we can start at the next meeting, look at it, make those adjustments and say, all right, what about this, what about that, but really start to kind of fine tune that, so that away by that September, October meeting, we have like some really concrete proposals with some dollar signs attached to it that we could then start to kind of go out to Jeff, to Becca, to all these other organizations and say, all right, here's where we're looking for money.
And I think we could use like our signage, like the walkway, just go quickly to the people who did those in the town common. They look very professional and very nice. How much did that cost to do? And then just,
Did Nikki do that? Nikki did that. I can talk to Nikki.
just how much did that cost? Throw in some money for inflation.
Who's Nikki?
Nikki Galacci.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. I think Nikki did it. I'm not sure. I'll find out.
Yeah. They just priced theirs that, didn't they?
And I think him and Tony Lampazona did it, if I'm not mistaken.
I think we have a lot of businesses that we can.
Tony, I can tell you right now, Tony will donate.
Yeah, I think we have
Tony's
a
good for
lot
Gino.
Yeah.
Marguerite too. He'll give us money too.
One thought I have regarding sponsors who might be looking to get like their name on things is that if we are able to do the story walk, we can put their logos on the website. We don't need to put it on the banners and stuff. And maybe a certain amount gets you like, hey, this is Dave from the school committee. Thanks for taking this walk. We want to give a quick thank you to this company for giving their money. And now I'm going to hand it over to the professor or whatever.
Like a podcast.
Love it.
Like where, so you scan the QR code, the audio, you get the
Can I
audio,
click?
and before you get the story, there's that 20 seconds where that sponsor's called out.
Yeah, that's
Love
a
it.
great idea, yeah.
And I think,
Before we pitch that, though, we need to make sure we have that.
Yes, that we have the product itself, or at
Oh, yeah,
least
for sure.
right.
Or at least we know we'll be able to follow.
Yeah.
The capability exists.
Yeah.
well, it goes to Steve's comment about how this has already been started by a number of, the 250 committee or what have you, so we could find out what they did and how they did it and share resources and get costs from them perhaps, whoever's been involved earlier.
Alan's on the 250 committee.
Perfect, yeah.
And would content like that be hosted on the school sites? So for those audio files, they've got to come from somewhere. So who would handle that? That would be free.
Yeah.
So
That would.
Colin, I'm going to go to you on that one, if you have the answer. Just, those recordings, we have Framingham State University professor talking.
I think I heard a little bit of it. You were talking about posting on a website and using the school website. Is that where you were going?
Say if there's the 20-minute lecture about Horace Mann and his relation to the first normal school, and it's done by a Framingham State professor.
Yeah. We may be able to house those within the Google Drive system for the district, and we can allow the access to be anybody with a link. So if we created a QR code or a link to it, it would just be housed in our Google cloud system.
There are some other options, respectfully, that would also make it a lot easier in terms of the app use that are more normal in terms of podcast apps or YouTube videos, etc.
Yeah, there you go.
Some of those clearly could still be hosted there, but then that could be kind of the work area, and then it would be posted somewhere else to do that.
almost like
get like
Yeah.
a 20-second ad for whoever Google's advertising for before the audio comes on, and then you would be so in other words, you host it on some service that gives you their ad first, and then your ad comes on for the guy the company that sponsored the audio.
Yeah.
And then
Oh, yeah.
3 minutes in, you get to the thing.
Actual podcast.
You just have to- Because that happens so much, it's so annoying.
The podcast service I have, for which if anybody's listening, there's no ads in there, but there's space placeholders for them to slip in easily. So that service capability is within most services like that. So it could be leveraged very easily.
Okay.
Very interesting.
Awesome. All right. Anything else? Again, I'll do send out a recap, send out action items for the different teams as we kind of go forward. Once we get confirmation of what meeting Jeff will be at, we'll also have folks just email questions into me, and then we'll build that out to flip over to Jeff as well. Anything else to be brought up just yet? All right. So then, otherwise, next meeting again, August 10th, and then August 21st. Not a meeting, but we'll be at the farmers market if you wanted to help out or just to come on by and say hi as well.
Thank you, Dave.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Great job.
Good job keeping us on track. We go down rabbit holes.
Lots of good stuff.
Then, let's see, real quick, we'll just do, time being 8:07, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So, second.
Maurice, we'll give that one to Bobby for a second. And then, we got online, so quick roll call. We'll go, Jan? Approve you all right adjourning?
Yep.
Yes.
Kathleen?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Bobby?
Farmers market in the
Yes.
Nancy, let's see, and then online, Aaron?
Yes.
And Tom?
Yes.
All right, Dave said yes as well. Thank you guys all so much.
We are now producing this in collaboration with Franklin TV and Franklin Public Radio. This podcast is my public service effort for Franklin, but we can't do it alone. We can always use your help. How can you help? If you can use the information that you find here, please tell your friends and neighbors. If you don't like something here, please let me know. Through this feedback loop, we can continue to make improvements. And I thank you for listening. For additional information, please visit franklinmatters.org. If you have questions or comments, you can reach me directly at suresteve@gmail.com. The music for the intro and exit was provided by Michael Clark and the group East of Shirley. The piece is titled Ernesto Mañana, copyright Michael Clark and Tin Type Tunes in 2008, and used with their permission. I hope you enjoy. By the way, you can also subscribe and listen to Franklin Matters Radio on your favorite podcast app. Search in podcasts for Franklin Matters.